Welcome, lovely viewers. Today is a lovely day, and we have one of the greatest personalities in this country we have been following for quite some time. It is in the person of Mr. Isaac Bonny, and we are here today to talk to him and then interact with him on the Father's Joy Show with me, Alfred Kojo Apia. But before we start our conversation, we would want to know who he is, what he does, and whatever we should know about him, whether he is married with children or not. Mr. Bonny, you are welcome to our show today.
Thank you very much, Alfred.
Yes, so my viewers would want to know who you are. So can you tell us who you are?
Greetings to all your viewers, and thank you for this opportunity.
Welcome.
I'm Isaac Ajimboni, as he has said. I'm a chartered accountant and an internal auditor by profession. I work with the Ministry of Health, and I'm stationed at the National Cardiothoracic Center. So I'm the head of internal audit for the National Cardiothoracic Center and the chief internal auditor for the Ministry of Health. So basically, I'm into accounting auditing.
Oh, okay.
I'm married to Jean Nadu Bonny. I have a daughter who will be 6 in May. She's called Nashida Bonny.
We are looking at why fathers are not being celebrated, and then secondly, we'll quickly look at why fathers, or what fathers are doing right or wrong in this country. So we'll take the first one, and then we'll ask Mr. Bonny, why do you think fathers are not being celebrated in our country?
Wow, that's a big one. I think fathers are not celebrated because mostly men or fathers are not really that, flamboyant or looking for outly celebrations. Sometimes they even forget their own birthdays. And therefore they are not always looking forward to celebrating themselves, and sometimes that also get to the children or the people who have to celebrate them. Most of the time fathers always forget the birthdays of their own children.
Wow.
They forget their anniversaries, their wedding anniversaries, the birthday of their sisters, their mother. They don't remember dates. Men actually don't remember dates. It's not really something that means to them. So most of the time the children or the offsprings are also not that encouraged to celebrate the fathers, because they think the fathers forget their days, and therefore they and put it literally, forget also the Father's Day. So basically, I think that's one of the reasons. Another reason is that most of this thing has been commercialized. So it looks like they look at men are difficult to come out with money or difficult to spend.
Okay.
And therefore, most of the commercial, most of the campaign normally go towards women.
The women.
And therefore, it's easy to sell and make money when you project the women and project feminine things,
okay,
more than the masculine things. But masculine, sometimes they buy one shoe and it will take about 3-4 years before they buy another one. But women, every month they are just buying something, a new bag, and new this. So it's easily catch up with the celebration of women more than, and then people want to invest in where they can make returns. So I'm also, I think, secondly, is part of the reason that men or fathers are not celebrated.
But don't you think that it's also true, like someone told me, that most of fathers are not playing their role as fathers, and they are not taking up their responsibilities as they are supposed to, and that is another reason why it looks like children don't even want to celebrate their fathers anymore.
To some extent, I can agree to what you are saying. In the olden days, gone are the days, 3-4 decades ago, this happens a lot. It happens where the men or the fathers are just sperm donors. They just donate the sperm to the women, and that ends it. But our generation, things have changed now.
Okay.
Those days, they give birth and they go and work. They leave the house about 4:30 and they come home around maybe 12 midnight. So the parents, the children don't even see the father. They just leave some money in the house and they are gone. Homeworks and all those things, going to the children's schools, to their speech and prize giving day, visiting them at their boarding house and all those things. It doesn't happen. It's the mothers that always are around. They'll pick the money, even the homeworks, do it with them, visit them at school, go to their open days and their speech and prize giving days. So they always see the mothers more. I want to say that some mothers also normally pollute the children against the father. If you do this, your father will beat you. But they scare, the children with the fathers. So sometimes the children are not open, to the father. But I think in our generation, things have changed.
Okay.
I'm in the hospital here. I see men coming to the labor hold when their wives are going to deliver. They are there. They are having a video. They are coming with flowers. So now I think it's a bit different. I see when you go to weigh-in, you see men coming with their wives. When their wives are pregnant, they are working with them side by side. But those days, when your wife is pregnant, you say, hurry up, don't walk beside me. That kind of, they don't even want to walk side by side. But these days, those things are no more. We have, I don't have to put, but at least we have civilized the kind of relationship to extend that now the nuclear one is more impactful than those days, 3-4 decades ago.
Okay, so Mr. Bonnie, like you heard from him, he's saying that it is not necessary that men are not doing their responsibilities, but sometimes it comes from our mothers as well in how they deal with their stuff. Mr. Bonnie, in your submission, you said that sometimes it's because of the activities of parents, mothers especially, they are everywhere. They are in the children's life from A to Z, and then fathers would have to go to work, come home, go and look for the money for the upkeep of the family. So basically, most reasons for not celebrating fathers is because they are not around. But don't you also think that the same shared responsibilities that fathers have, mothers also have equal? Because if you are supposed to wash their school uniforms, you are supposed to make sure they go to school, and it's your responsibility, and you do, why then should you be celebrated? But if the man puts the money down and then leaves the house and is going to work, then he is not being celebrated. Don't you think there is a problem somewhere?
Yes, I think there is a problem. Once you put the money alone is not enough. Some women, even when you put the money, they just call Papa here to bring food. You don't even cook. They also go and do their own things, have their soup here and there, and also things. So I think that to a large extent, in our generation, things have changed. Now the woman is working, the man is also working, the mother is working, the father is working. So both parents are now working. So I think the responsibility are now shared. Once the mother is not there, the father is in the house taking care. Because our days you had a extended family. You can send the children to your grandmother, to your auntie somewhere where they will take care of the children. But these days no more. When you send your children to your brother or the uncle, you have to send food and send some money. Okay. And they'll be asking when are you coming for the child. But those days you can even leave them 1 month and they'll be taken care of. So I think that now it is changing. The responsibility are being shared. Washing, it's been not divided. There's no more a woman's kind of, they're now more empowered now. The women are now more empowered because they're now working and they're also bringing something to the table. So they are now also calling some shots. There are gadgets now. The washing machine is there. Cookers, rice cookers, and all those. So that the men are also now also cooking. They have some days that today is the father that is cooking. So I think our generation things are changing, but the ratio is still having women more, being around than the men. But the men are now catching up, and I know with 5 years to come they'll catch up. Even the men will be in the house more. The women will be, going for the money.
I want to find out that, you see, sometimes it is very difficult to speak the truth when children are growing up, and it looks like more responsibility is in the house, and then father would have to make sure that most of these things are taken care of. But without the means, of course, there's going to be chaos in the family. So father would want to try everything possible to make sure that the house is kept or the home is in peace, is in order. So by that reason, the father is not always around. And then the mother happens to be there. Someone told me that her mother told her a lot of things about the dad. And that is the reason why she doesn't really like the dad or respect the dad. Do you think it's something that is really pending in our system? Since you are a father and then you see a lot of men and then women, children coming to the hospital, do you think some of these pollution are having effect on life?
Sure. It has a lot. It has a lot of effects, especially when the children need to be punished. They've done something that they need to punish. The mother should punish them, but they will leave the punishment to the father. This is part of the pollution. That when your father comes in, I'll report it to your father, he's going to beat you. But when the person does something wrong, just go ahead and then don't say you're waiting for the father to come in as if he is the one who's supposed to do the punishment.
The beating.
Yeah. And most often also, it's not the fault of the women. Sometimes they are left all alone. Sometimes the men are not even there. So sometimes the bitterness in them. Sometimes the school fees that is being paid for is paid half. The woman has to top up, and therefore he will not get that kind of lovely to say good things about you to the children. So sometimes it's also partly due to the men's fault. Sometimes they also share some of the responsibility, or sometimes they even neglect it at all. There are some parents that don't even care. All they know is that the child is there. They don't even know what the child is wearing, what the child is. They don't even go out with the children because the children don't have cloths to wear. Okay. Therefore, all this responsibility come towards the woman. The woman sometimes have to sell their belongings, their clothing, their cloth, to be able to put the children in school. Sometimes when the difficulty comes, but you hardly see a man saying, "I'm going to sell my suit, I'm going to sell my Louis Vuitton something," and then go and you hardly see those things. But women can do it. They can go to the market, pick their gas cooker, pick something from the house, and go and sell, and just push the child or something to an education facility. So most of this responsibility, sometimes the men that call for it, but I'm sure the women should also know how to go about some of these things. They shouldn't do it out of bitterness. It should be out of love. You know that the man is trying to find for the home, trying to make sure there is the home is comfortable, conducive enough for both the family and the children, accommodation, shelter, and all those things, clothing, food, wise, and everything. And these days, everything is being paid for.
Yeah.
One of the days where you don't pay for your rubbish, you hardly pay for Pepsodent and those things. They'll bring you those chewing sticks from the village. You don't buy those things, but these days that's everything that you do, you have to pay. The children can urinate, but these days everything is in the house. You have to flush it. Everything is being paid for. So they have more responsibility. So the woman should sometimes understand and try to be supportive enough and not pollute the children.
Yes, supportive enough. You have been in this hospital for a very long time, and you have worked as a senior auditor and then also a health practitioner. I would want to know the involvement of men when their women are admitted. How is the involvement like? Because I heard there's been series of cases where men come and then they leave their wives or they leave whoever they brought and then they disappear. Then it has to either be a government responsibility or the doctors or people would have to come together and make sure that all these things are cleared. What is the men's responsibility to that?
The men are supposed, when the women come to the hospital, the men are supposed to be there to care. Okay. But the women do that more. You find out that when the men are in the hospital, the women even come, sometimes they sleep outside.
Wow.
If he has to stay for a week, 2 weeks, the woman will still be outside. They will make sure there is breakfast. They try to do, even you have to cook something small. They try to come in and washing their things, But when the women rather come to the hospital, you will not see that. So they just come. Maybe they close early in the morning by 7:30 or 7. They are here. They come. How are you doing? Have you eaten? Have they brought the food? Normally the kitchen brings the food, but by 7:30 or 8 o'clock they are moving to the office. Right. Then maybe 5:30 when they close from the office, they'll come and pass by, ask the doctors, "Oh, is everything okay? There's there medicine to buy?" By 7:38 they are going back. You hardly see a man coming to sleep here when the wife, maybe one or twice that I've seen, but most of the time is the woman. It's the way women are brought up, the caring nature. They are only people who are able to give birth, and then it's like by giving birth they have that kind of caring nature. But men normally always look at, hey, am I going to sleep here? Am I sleeping outside? Is it conducive enough? Mosquito, all those kind of things. All of those questions will be asked. But we have hostels around. We have hotels around. So if really they want to stay, but I'm sure with time things will change. Men will be more supportive, more caregiving when their spouses or their wives are, But by and large, women do it better.
So before we go to our next question, I would want you to share a little piece of advice concerning that very incident. When we the men bring the women or our girlfriends, or our mothers, our wives to the hospital, what do you think should be the right thing to do? Since you have been an health practitioner for a long year and then you are still in it, what do you think would be your advice to men, of course? The
advice I'll give to men is that they should take time off. Once you have a loved one or once you have a wife that is sick, at least try to ask permission. I know we are all working. I know most of them work. So you ask permission from your office, so at least you can stay longer. Ask them what they have. Sometimes it's you staying longer that heal, not the doctors, not fine, they'll be prescribing the medicine and not, but the more touch you give to your wife or your loved one, that quickens the healing process.
Okay.
So they should stay more, they should be around, even if they have food being given, they should try at least to bring in additional food, something that could make them happy. Maybe not, if not food, maybe some flowers, some fruits, try to be around, some water, try to be even in their room. Sometimes they can even sit in the room where your wife is or admitted. If he's alone, we have the rooms that are private enough, like the hotels, so you can ask for that. Then you can be around. I remember when my wife was pregnant and was about to deliver, we went there on I think Thursday, and I was writing my ICE examination. So she asked me to sleep. So I remember I slept in the same room with her. I had my books there. Once she was sleeping, I was still reading, and then from the place I moved straight to the examination room.
Wow.
And then I think it was around 12:05. So I quickly rushed. I called my mother-in-law that she has delivered. Said no. So I quickly rushed from the. I got there, and then she heard I've come. I heard the last push came, and then the baby came. So she wanted me to be around, and then the last. But sometimes we need to be there and be support. At least even you can't do some, just be around, encouraging them to be well. That's what the women do. To well, don't worry, sorry, touching us and seeing, are we sweating, are we breathing well? Then if the cloth has covered you, just remove it.
Small.
Those are the things that quickens the healing process.
Wow.
So men should try. It's not easy, but men should try to cultivate those those habits. I'm sure it is coming. Gradually, we are catching up. Right now you see people bringing flowers here and there. I'm hoping. Some people think it's European, it's Western culture, but a lot of things have changed.
Yeah.
We hardly eat our staple food again, so we are now moving more. So let's move completely if we are moving.
Okay,
and I think it's better.
Okay, so we are still on the show with Mr. Bonnie. He says that let's keep the journey going, and then men, with time, we will be okay, and then everything will be in order. Then to our next question, what do you think men are doing wrong? Or fathers, let me use the word fathers, because this show is the father's job. We are looking at what fathers are doing wrong in terms of marriage, in the lives of their children, in their normal day in and day out activities. What do you think men are doing very wrong?
I think men or fathers are supposed to play that spiritual role. They are supposed to be the spiritual leaders of their families. They are supposed to be the pastor or the priest in their family. So we're expecting that men can have morning devotions with their children every morning, maybe from 5 a.m. to 6 or 5:15 to 6 or 5 a.m. to 5:45, 30 minutes, 45 minutes morning devotion. Read the Bible. If they have a devotional guide, read it, and even have time with the children, prayer topics. That binds the family together. But most men or most fathers don't have that spiritual, headship of their family. They leave that role also to the women who go to church with their mother, then they follow the mother to church. But every day there should be that kind of morning devotion where the father is the pastor of the house. Give them some short exhortation, and even bless the children and the wife every morning. Try to touch them, bless them, give them some blessings, so at least when they are going out, these blessings will follow them. That is one of the things I think is lacking from fathers. Also, I'm expecting to see, fathers remember the dates, the birthdays of their loved ones, their children. They need to be there. I mean, when it's your birthday, you need to remember your child's birthday. Surprise your child. Surprise them. Sometimes those are the things when you do your wife, you surprise them. Don't wait till she reminds you that, hey, these days we have phones. So you have a calendar, Google Calendar. Make sure that if you can't keep it, that's what I've done. I have Google Calendar here. I've stored all the birthdays there. So I've given myself even about 1 hour to the time. A reminder. Even just this interview, I had a reminder on it. So at least once I'm somewhere, I'll remember that, hey, I have this So Google Calendar is there. Just fix all the dates there, and then remind. Sometimes just a simple note, a simple text message. You know, when you go to the office, you call them. Oh, you know, thank you. You know, happy birthday. A card, not something too big. Once in a while, surprises can come in. You know, traveling together and all those things. So I think men should try, or fathers should remember those dates, especially their children and their spouses or their wife, and celebrate it.
Celebrate.
I've not grandiose, but at least something small. My father, for instance, he was born on 1st January, and most of the time we go to 31st all night. But before we come to the house, he has put drinks, everything on the table. Everything is there, so you hardly forget. Anybody's birthday, you know, he's always having a card somewhere or a toffee somewhere. Like, you know, something small. Happy birthday, this is a topic for you, or this is a cake or something. And the children will, you know, love it. And thirdly, I think we need to have, fathers must pay more attention to their children's education than just paying the fees. Yes, once you pay the fees, the other charges, that is putting them in school. But sometimes you need to go and meet their teacher.
Okay.
Talk to the teacher. What's the progress? How is? They want to see you talking to their teacher, asking about their progress. They love those things.
Okay.
When there's open day, you go to the school, try to, you know, look at their books, what they are doing. When there's speech and prize giving, they go there with cameras, taking them pictures here. Those are the things that they love. And once you do all those things, they cannot forget something. But then nobody can pollute them again. But sometimes we leave the women to rather do those catchy things. That's where I wish the fathers will concentrate more on doing.
Wow. It's been a blessing having Mr. Isaac Bonny on the show, and then we are still here. We have some few minutes and then we'll wrap up soon. But before we go, I would want to ask Mr. Bonny to share his memories with us. If this show is the father's joy, so we want to ask him what brings him that kind of joy as a father.
I think the first one was when your child is born. I mean, you hear that, this is a child, and they place it in your arms. There's this joy. I mean, to finally, you know, I'm a father. I mean, there is great joy. You are happy, you know, and especially with the men, when it is a girl, they are really happy. Gone are the days where they said when you give birth to a man, but these days things have changed. The men, the boys are more closer to their mothers, and the girls are more closer to their fathers. You know, so once you know you go to, and sometimes when you go to school, when they go to school and you drop them off, and I have to try and pick them sometimes from school.
Okay.
When they run to you and they hug you, wow, you know, that daddy, you know. I sometimes take my daughter to the swimming. You know, she knows how to swim. So I'm just currently learning how to swim. You know, see her cheering my go daddy, daddy, don't be scared. Oh, you know, but I'm scared, you know, I have to hold my breath, you know, learn some of the kicking and those kind of, you know, swimming techniques. Difficult, but she's encouraging and you're happy. I mean, when he goes to the swimming, she's basically calling my name everywhere. Daddy here. And sometimes that's the joy. Or you go to the speech and prize giving day, or they're having a Christmas program and she's performing, and you're having your mobile phone, taking a camera, taking her, and it's the excitement, you're even happy. You know. So I think those are the things that I remember my daughter. We are very close. I think they vacated yesterday, and when he came, the first thing he came, he brought his report, and he started reporting herself. Oh, Daddy, this time I couldn't be first in Ghana. I think last time she was first in Ghana, and I asked her to study for the Zoe for Ghana. There, Skoko, she will handle it. That's what she told me before going to the Zambia. When he came, I think she was 8th this time. She herself started reporting. Said, "Oh, this is what happened," but he didn't get 100% in Ghana. I said, "She shouldn't worry. There's third term there, and she's going to do. She should stop playing too much and then study." So I think those are the things that bring some excitement and some the joy, And men are not most of the time not really into the Father's Day celebration joy, but these little things bring us the joy.
Wow. So you've heard from Mr. Bonnie. That is how he finds father's joy. His joy when the daughter is always around him and then they are going places, they are cheering up, go daddy, go daddy. That is what brings him joy. So he's also encouraging most men to be around their daughters. Our final question to Mr. Bonnie before we wrap up the show, we want you to advise fathers. You are a father, you have a child, you have a wife, you are in the home settings. So we want you to advise fathers for us.
My advice for fathers is you are the spiritual head and make sure you play that spiritual head role. As fathers, we are supposed to protect and defend our family, our children and wives. So make sure as a father you are seen to be protecting them. That means they have to have shelter, somewhere to lay their heads, somewhere to sleep. So make sure you are providing all those things. There's a defense around them. You're not quickly going to throw them out, quickly going to be against them. Sometimes try and accommodate them, make sure they know that their father is there for them in the good time, in bad times you are there. I also want to advise fathers should always also be role models to their children. Try to be somebody your child will aspire to be. Let's be the role models for our children, even for our wives. Let's be that kind of mentor. Don't let us look for. I get a lot of children who are young ones who want for me to be mentors to them. But where are their fathers? Their father, you should be the first mentor to your children. Before maybe when they go for another career that maybe it's not the same career as the father, they can go for another mentor. But the father should be the first mentor, be the first role model, and be the spiritual head for them, be it Muslim or be it Christian. You have to protect and defend them. So my advice to parents that when we play this role, I know of the role of putting the money on the table, but that is not enough. Let's add these other roles to it so that at least our children will grow up to celebrate us.
Okay, so our children will grow up and then celebrate us. Not to forget, what would be your advice to mothers as well?
Mothers are doing a lot. I want to say thank you for all that mothers are doing. I would say they should continue what they are doing. They should, even though things are changing. Our generation now, they are doing a lot of work. Women are in the boardroom, going for meetings, traveling here and there, but they shouldn't neglect that motherly role. The children also need that, and therefore breastfeeding is very key. Sometimes you have it's difficult when they are working. Sometimes 6 months, 1 year, but they should try to give the 2 years. Breastfeeding to the babies. That gives them wisdom, it gives them knowledge, and that makes that attachment to the mother. When they neglect that 2-year breastfeeding, sometimes the children are a little bit not adequate. So I want to advise that they really continue that breastfeeding.
Okay, so you've heard from Mr. Bonnie. This is an health advice that women, mothers, we shouldn't just give up breastfeeding our children, but we should give them the adequacy for a period of 2 years, and then after 2 years you can go have yourself whatever you want to do for yourself. Mr. Bonnie, Father's Day is coming. Father's Day is at the corner, I think on the 15th of June. We all know in the history of most countries that fathers are being celebrated, not necessarily buying your father a car or anything, but the family settings. Fathers now can go to the kitchen and cook. Fathers can take their families out and spend on them. What would be your advice for fathers on this very coming Father's Day?
Wow. I would say sometimes the fathers should take the initiative to also celebrate themselves.
Okay.
When the day comes, try, and if you are the one doing the cooking, then that day just say that is doing the cooking today, or that is going to take the family out somewhere. So let's not wait till we are receiving. Let's try to rather be people going to celebrate ourselves with our family. And with time they will catch up and they will surprise us big time.
Wow. So finally, it has been good on